Fans and analysts are quick to judge obvious mistakes, but what truly were the plays that brought Faker and T1 their 5th World Championship trophy? Was it perhaps a play in Game 4 where Gumayusi and Keria completely zoned off Elk Ziggs? Or was it a TP by Ben in Game 5 that gave T1 the green light to jump onto Knight's Ahri? My name is Xpecial, and I've played against Faker in the past myself at Worlds, under some of the best North American organizations including TSM and Team Liquid. And in this video, I'll be breaking down 8 game-defining plays that solidified T1's 5th World Championship win. Also, real quick, if you want to learn how to make plays like these pro players, my team of Challenger and LCS coaches and I can help you rank up 400 LP in just 6 weeks guaranteed inside the Masters Roadmap program. You'll be getting over 30 hours of personalized coaching with hands-on drills, scrims, and one-on-ones to make sure you learn everything you need to hit Masters Plus. So if you're serious about putting in the work to see results, message me the word Worlds on Discord using the link in the description below to book a free call with me to see if we'd be a good fit. Hurry because we only have 9 spots left. Now back to the video. Everyone's quick to point out Zeus' deaths in Game 4 of BLG versus T1, where he was 0-3 at 6 minutes, but somehow he was ahead in both gold and EXP compared to Bin's Gnar. Let's see how that happens. The 2v1 is initiated by T1 with their bot lane swapping the top side. Bin recognizes that it is a 2v1 scenario, and he immediately moves towards bot lane. There are 2 golden rules when it comes to 2v1. First, you want to make sure that you get more gold and more EXP than the opposing team. This is done by making sure you catch more of the wave that is crashing. The second rule is that you need a +2 advantage in members to successfully or at least easily execute a dive. If the enemy team has 1 person defending, you want 3 to attack. If they have 2 defending, you want 4, etc. Important thing to note is that Bin is unable to TP top here because he does not know where Keria and Owner are. He assumes that there's going to be 3 top, and as a solo top laner, he cannot defend the tower by himself. Therefore, he's forced to make a dive play happen. BLG puts a deep ward, as you can see on the bottom here. This ward allows him to spot if anyone's defending Zeus. They see Keria a little late, and due to the champions that BLG has, this dive is a lot more difficult than it needs to be. Ziggs is a champion that does not have that much damage, and he even misses a crucial Q early on in this dive. At the end of the day, with 4, it's still a fairly easy dive. This is where the mistakes start to happen. Whereas Zeus died for first blood, he still collected a lot of the wave and is level 2, almost level 3, coming back into the lane, TPing back. However, Bin decides to save his TP, even though he could easily TP top here and at least collect some of the wave and hit level 2. This causes Bin to already be behind EXP 3 minutes into the game. On each of Zeus' subsequent deaths, he was able to secure additional minions before going down, resulting in a 2-level lead over Bin, making the 2v1 massively successful for T1 even though BLG are significantly ahead in gold. T1's understanding of the 2v1 and their willingness to die for EXP causes them to have a pretty big advantage coming out of the 2v1 scenario. So when the lane swap, the next play really seals the fate for BLG's early game. At 7:30 into the game, BLG's bot lane matches T1's bot lane. However, Elk's Ziggs is 1 level behind Ashe, which has her arrow at this point. Due to this level lead, T1 walks up and decides to just proxy between the 2 turrets. BLG responds incredibly poorly here, respecting T1 a little too much. However, this is more of a bluff than anything. As you can see, at 7:55, Elk still manages to get back to tower. However, by that time, he's already lost a minion wave and a half. This is where things start to fall apart. Remember, Zeus did die a lot in the early game. However, you're trading EXP for gold, and EXP is much more valuable than gold in the early game. The gold advantage went to Ziggs, who has a kill and an assist, and it was up 500 gold coming into the lane. However, because of him getting completely zoned out from the wave, he ends up slowly falling behind and giving up that lead to Gumayusi. This clearly shows that BLG was not very comfortable playing their comp. Elk, an excellent ADC player, did not know the limits of his champion and was too scared to walk up, which results in both the top lane of BLG and the bot lane of BLG being behind in gold and EXP. When T1's bot lane walked up past the tower, if On had just tanked the arrow and used Rakan's mobility to escape while letting Elk just satchel past them, they would easily be able to get to tower and wouldn't be able to get dove. While it might be scary thinking perhaps Owner could be there were excellent wards in the topside river in both mid and top, making it impossible for Poppy to be there. Therefore, Elk just needed to man up and just walk the turret a little earlier. But the mistakes just keep piling on BLG's side about 10 minutes into the game when Faker finds a solo kill onto Elk. Right before this, BLG's Rakan and Sejuani had just recalled, and Elk is left by himself. Faker sees an opportunity to jump onto the Ziggs and is able to get a clean solo kill onto him. Elk didn't respect the Sylas damage and ends up flashing a little too late, even though he dodges the Sylas stolen Ziggs ultimate. This results in Elk using his TP to come back to lane. However, it gets even worse. While the casters are focused on this skirmish mid, Elk is forced to recall again as Faker chunks him out after TPing back. This causes BLG to not really know what to do. They wanted to contest the grubs at this timer, but because Faker is full HP and is ready to move, BLG gets collapsed on and are forced to use summoners and completely give up the grubs. Elk's inexperience with the Ziggs clearly is shown here, where he gets solo killed once, is too scared to collect EXP and gold, and eventually is forced to back multiple times in the span of 2 to 3 minutes. This is exactly why, even though this comp from BLG was incredibly strong and was banned on all 4 games of the T1 Gen G series, T1 were not scared of BLG's Smolder comp, as they clearly could not execute on this playstyle. In the last major fight of Game 4, BLG end up taking Tier 1 tower. Both Ziggs and Smolder do not have flash in this moment, as Faker is flanking from the side. Watch how Faker plays the situation perfectly. Rakan, seeing Sass on the side, attempts to interrupt him with his knockup. However, Faker's E was able to cancel Rakan and even steals Rakan's ultimate to flash onto the carries of BLG. BLG had multiple opportunities to escape the situation. However, they underestimated the engage power of the Sylas with the Rakan ultimate. Sejuani, Rakan both had their ultimates at the beginning of this fight and could have used it to actually get their teammates out. However, this is the power of Faker, where he does the unexpected, being able to engage and close so much distance in an unexpected way using the full extent of Sylas' kit. Even more interestingly is this play afterwards, where all of T1's members, minus Zeus, ends up turning to the Baron. But because Zeus is making so much time here and actually trying to fight the remaining BLG members, BLG did not expect the Baron to be burned down so quickly. They thought that T1 would have been around Zeus as he's making his aggressive play. But since Zeus was there by himself, T1 were able to take it before BLG even had time to check the Baron. Jun, at this time, had both Smite and Flash and could have easily flashed into the pit. But he did not realize how low it was going to be and ends up giving the Baron away to T1 for essentially free. T1's coordination and confidence is extremely scary, and this is the reason why they're viewed as such a clutch team, especially when it comes to Worlds. All 5 members executing on their roles perfectly, mechanics on point as well. In the final game of the World's Grand Finals, BLG knew they needed to do something different. In Game 4, they picked a comp that they weren't as comfortable with, and it showed. Elk had one of his worst performances in this tournament so far, and in Game 5, they changed that up completely. Every single one of the players were on one of their most comfortable picks that they've been playing throughout this whole year. And things started off strong with First Blood going to BLG. However, things collapse at this 3:30 mark when Owner shows up bot lane. Take note how Elk is pushing up this wave. He expected Gumayusi and Keria to have recalled. He did not expect them to be actually sitting in the brush looking for this play. So when they get collapsed on, things go from bad to worse for Elk. Even though Elk gets out of the situation, trading his flash for Keria's ignite, what you might not have noticed is the wave state of the bot lane. Because Elk had tried to push up the wave earlier, the minions are now permanently going to be pushing towards T1. Elk, who was already slightly behind coming into this lane, is going to fall even further behind as Gumayusi and Keria are denying and freezing this wave. Wave after wave is being denied to Elk, and he falls very quickly behind in this game. Jun is forced to come bottom to just show pressure and allow On and Elk to walk up and push the wave. At this point, Elk is 15 CS behind. The game is far from over, and the first major mistake happens at this moment. Gumayusi and Keria initiate a lane swap, moving up for the top spawn of Grubs. Grubs have been a massive contention point throughout this whole series, with T1 getting all 6 of them in the last game. BLG recognizes that, and they picked a comp specifically that can fight early and contest T1. More importantly here, Zeus went bot lane with TP. He even pushes up the bot lane all the way before TPing up top. BLG had the option. They could have either stayed bottom, collected the wave, catch back up, or contest this Grubs. It was a high risk, high reward play that heavily backfires with On's engage. At the beginning of this play, it's a massive 5v5 topside, and On completely whiffed this combo that would have secured another kill going to BLG, but instead turns into kills for T1, Grubs, and the bot lane being denied. Not only that, the bot lane that's denied is actually pushing towards T1 now, so they're forced to send someone bot lane, which allows T1 to react and take plates topside. Also important to note is that BLG's comp was not picked for the mid and lane game teamfight scenarios. They wanted champions that they were extremely comfortable on. Keria picked Poppy on red side 4. Poppy is traditionally a champion that's really good against engages. Champions like Rel, J4, who need to use their dashes to engage, are not great against a Poppy, yet they opted into these champions. Why? Well, it's as simple as they knew that this game was going to come down to early skirmishes, like the Grubs, like Dragons, and they trusted their players to be able to execute mechanically and find these fights. However, it is also a high risk, high reward type of playstyle, which is what LPL is known for. But due to these mistakes, their early game centric comp actually falters heavily and they're falling quickly behind in a game where they need to start snowballing. Despite these blunders, BLG still clawed the way back into the game with some excellent plays using TPs. So at 28 minutes, we see a crucial fight at Dragon that determines how this game is going to go. BLG are only behind by 1k gold, meaning they've done an excellent job at trading gold and EXP for Dragon. Important to note at the beginning of this play, Faker is far away from his team. He has TP and Galio ult available, but both of those take time to channel, and he won't have time to get into the fight immediately. Galio ulti, while it's a semi-global for very long range, is not a true global, meaning that he cannot ultimate immediately from his positioning in top lane to the bottom river. BLG recognizes that and decides to look for a fight here. T1 are actually the ones turning for this fight, in a bit of miscommunication, as Faker is still pushing up top wave. Owner actually cancels J4's EQ combo, forcing him to stay in the fight, who then turns and ults onto Gumayusi, forcing him to use both his flash and ultimate. At this point in the fight, there are a couple things happening. Faker recognizes that his team is fighting and then looks to come down. However, he's still too far to use his ultimate. Keria is channeling his Poppy ultimate. He knows that they're going to look for a catch onto Gumayusi and tries his best to peel for his ADC. Knight and Bin both recognize that. This blue trinket is extremely important as it allows them to see exactly when Keria is using the ultimate, and both Bin and Knight respond to it. It can be very difficult to react perfectly in this scenario, so they both use either Flash or Zhonya's to dodge this. Meanwhile, Knight also manages to dodge Zeus's body slam at the same time. Regardless, BLG still take down Gumayusi immediately in this fight. Even when On goes down, this is still an extremely good spot for BLG, as all their carries are still alive. BLG recognizes that T1 are backing off and look to chase, and this is where it all goes wrong. Bin attempts to TP behind them to cut off their escape. This would be good if they were a little bit more patient. However, this is when T1 recognizes the situation and realizes that Knight has no ult and no flash available. And so when Knight overextends, Faker does exactly what he's known for, clutching it out for his team, winning the 3v4. In the final fight of the game, we see what Faker does best, which is turn an impossible situation into a win that secures his team the World Championship. Zeus is caught out in the top side after Baron. Faker decides to use his Galio ultimate to join the fight. He was perfectly able to snipe out the retreating Kai'Sa. Meanwhile, Keria was able to cancel out Knight's TP using Poppy ultimate. And the fight, which was a 2v4 in BLG's favor, turns into a massive win for T1, allowing them to close out the game. Faker taking an impossible situation and turning it again in a true Faker moment. That's why he's a GOAT. Thanks for watching.